The objective of this project was to design a software to track the client's statistics and scores for every round of golf played. So just a quick overview of the project. The software allows the user to enter the par for each hole, their own score on each hole, and the number of putts and whether or not the fairway was hit on each hole. In addition, the user will enter the course name and the date of the round. Then the total score, the total number of putts, and the total number of fairways will be outputted. When everything is over, the user will have the option to store all the stats and scores into a file that can be accessed at any time. This can be used to track improvement and see areas of strength and weakness. So I've gone ahead and entered the par, score, and the number of putts on each of the 18 holes. After all of this is done, the user will select Disable Fairways for par 3s. The reason for this is because par 3s do not have fairways, so we do not want the user to enter in any values for holes that are par 3s. So for example, like hole 6 is a par 3, so this text field for the fairway is disabled, so the user won't enter in any value. So I'll go ahead and enter in arbitrary values for each of the holes. After this is done, the user will select Calculate Totals. This button, when this is clicked, the total values for all three of these sections will be outputted. After this is done, the user will select Display Final Stats. When this button is clicked, a dialog box will pop up with all the stats, scores, and data repeated. This will ask the user to review this and see if it looks correct. If it does, the user will select Yes. After that, the user will be asked, would you like to store these statistics into a file? I'll go ahead and say Yes. Now it says stats copied to this file. The file name is determined by the course name underscore the date of round.txt. So I'll go ahead and click OK. And if we go to the documents, click on this. So now as you can see in the text file, all of this information for this round is entered in line by line. Course name, date, score, total putts, green regulations, and the fairways hit. Alright. So now we'll review a few test cases for this program. Let's say the user accidentally enters a value of k instead of y. So what this will do when they select Calculate Totals, a error message will be displayed that says please enter wire and only for fairways. So then the user will go ahead, make that change, and recalculate the totals. Another test case is if a score greater than 10 is entered on a hole. So let's say on hole 8, the user wants to enter a 12. So I'll calculate these totals. Then it says the maximum score on a hole is 10. So then the user will go back and change this to a 10 because the software will not allow any value higher. Recalculate the totals. And see, once I entered a 0 for the score, it said all scores must be greater than the number of putts. So I can go back and change that to a 5. Recalculate the totals, and now everything is fine. So let's say they accidentally leave a text field blank, like that's left empty. So when the user goes to calculate the totals, it'll say please enter valid numbers. So then they will, and also since that was left blank, another message will say all scores must be greater than the number of putts. So we'll go ahead and make that change and recalculate the totals. And finally, let's say they accidentally leave the course name blank. So they try to calculate the totals without that. So I'll select Calculate Totals, and then I'll say Display Final Stats. So then it'll say please enter course name, and a dialog box will pop up that asks the user to enter the course name below. And then everything is good, and then the final stats will be displayed. And then if I say, do these stats look correct? I'll say no. The user will be taken back to the original screen. Finally, let's say the user wants to get data from a previous round. So as you can see here, there's this button here that says Get Data from Previous Round. If I select that, the user will be asked to enter the file name that they want to search, excluding the .txt. So let's say I want to see what the data was from the round I played on March 7th. So I enter in the file name, excluding .txt, select OK, and then a dialog box will be popped up that displays all the stats for that round, which includes the course name, date, score, total putts, green regulations, and the fairways hit. Once I select OK, it takes me out of the program. So just to recap, this program is designed to track the client's statistics and scores for every round of golf played. This can be used for a variety of reasons, including to track improvement, see areas of strength and weakness.